even though they're throwing hits, the time doesn't change too much.
Little less, I think. I'll throw a little.
Well, this is one of the changes, and it's a test for this. You know, usually we talk about running time of the stone. Well, what they're doing now is going to see if this thinking time or talking time works better. So you've got 41 minutes. So in effect, the stone right now is not being timed.
No, don't touch it. You can clean it.
So no time is being on either clock.
That's fine.
You wait until the stone goes out or the house turns over to the other team. All right. So now it belongs, of course, to Clybrink. It's running now. It will stop when her stone crosses that tee line from the throwing end.
80 here too.
So it continues to run. She had 41 minutes, remember. So this is where the penalty is if you take too much time. So her clock continues to run. The clock will stop right now across the tee line. The thought being, of course, when you're in those critical moments, end of a game, throwing draws as compared to hits.
Yes, draws take a lot longer, and they don't want to penalize teams that like the aggressive play throughout the game, and certainly not teams that are trying to catch up in the game and need to play the guards and draws late in the game.
All right, so once again, no time being ticked off on any clock.
Great sweeping, you guys.
They clear, and now time starts for Jennifer Jones.
Nice.
Now, the Canadian Curling Association, as I say, this is a test, and they'll get feedback from the players. And when the CCA gets together for their annual meeting next June, July, they'll discuss it and then decide whether to implement it.
I think it's a fabulous idea. It's as Linda just mentioned, it penalizes the team that wants to be aggressive, and that's what this sport's all about. We've got so much curl now. There's a lot more draw shots, and the ice is so quick. It's virtually 30 seconds for a rock to go from one end to the other. So if one team's throwing hits at 10 seconds, the other team's throwing draws trying to catch up at 30 seconds. There can be a big discrepancy in time. And all you have to do is manage the thinking time.
Nice throw, Jen.
Final stone looking for the blank, and she plays it to perfection. Blank goes on the board. It remains 2-1 Jones, and she continues to hold the last rock.
Okay.
And one of the things that the Canadian Curling Association is testing at this Canada Cup is a new timing system. This is talk time. So you can see it's now 41 minutes and 2 90-second timeouts. What that means is you're not penalized or your clock doesn't run when your stone is moving. You only are clocked or time in when, in fact, you are talking. So watch what happens now. This is a Howard stone. As soon as the Howard team clears and Stoughton takes control of the house, like now, and his time starts to run. And the clock will run until the thrown stone at the other end crosses the tee line. And the reason being, of course, Linda, Russ, is that when in the other system, when we had 70 minutes or 72 minutes, now watch here, tee line stops. Now, you're not going to be penalized if late in the game you happen to be needing to throw draws. They're taking 25 seconds, while the other team is throwing takeouts, and they're taking 12 seconds.
And I think the players really like it. It's actually been talked about for maybe 20 years. It's been around forever. But they were concerned with whether the timers would find the system more difficult. It's worked well here.
And in fact, the timers had to be retrained a little bit just to understand where. So now, if in fact at this moment the clock is ticking on Howard as he talks.
Board? So I can't go across the...
No.
Board? Board?
Now, the Canadian Curling Association will get reaction, input from the players after this event, and then at their annual meeting next summer, June or July,
Board's enough, Glenn?
they'll talk about it, and it could possibly be implemented if it's accepted for next season.
I think it's just a great idea that you see Jeff Stoughton's down 2 points here. Chances are, unless he catches up in a hurry, he's going to be playing a lot more draws than Team Howard. And a draw takes nearly 30 seconds. A hit takes 10. So it could be a real discrepancy in time for the team that's down.
And it's more crucial when you get later in the game, of course.
For sure.
Get over there, go over there, get over there, go.
Roll it over and try and glue it on the corner, and he'll sort of get in between. But he does get behind that guard. Thin. Want to hit it thin. And she does. You weren't with us yesterday.
Sorry.
One of the things that the Canadian Curling Association is experimenting with at the Canada Cup is the talk
Back line,
time.
right? Yep.
So instead of the timing of the running stone, it's the discussion time. So a game is now 41 minutes, 2 timeouts per game. And for example, now this stone, the clock is stopped. So this aspect, you're not punished for throwing draws, trying to get back into a game. Or another team, for example, we just saw Laws, or Caitlin Laws throw her stone, takes 10 seconds. This is a 25-second shot.
I think most of the players like it. I like it. It does give you a chance to play those draw shots throughout the game and also trying to catch up.
Yeah.
So now the clock starts for Jones. And the clock will stop
Got it.
once the thrower's stone reaches the tee line.
The one thing that you might notice is when they have a discussion, I think they're looking at the clock, thinking that it's taking a lot of time. It really doesn't. I think you realize you've got a lot of time, even though the number is only 41 minutes to start.
Kevin Martin had a minute and a half against Cooey the other day to play the whole 10th end, and he did it easily. It's just a mindset. It's getting the curlers have to learn that you know, it's almost like Celsius and Fahrenheit. It's just a different way of thinking.
That was pretty. Sorry about your first one.
I'm dating myself now.
You threw it great.
Like, you're never going to come off it to there.
The problem is you hit the side of it and it goes to here. It'd be awful.
That's
No,
really
it's not
hard
bad.
to hit it too thin to hit it into this part of the
True
rock.
enough.
It's going to touch this. They're going to be shot back here. That one might come in for just a gimme double.
What about the shot they're playing? Hit that as thick as you can. Have that shoe cutter come into here.
I don't think it comes into there.
I don't think it goes all the way over
Or
there.
it's
does
too
it?
skinny. Comes back here. Okay.
Be nice to throw enough weight it just goes to the back.
This
forward,
rock's
back
going to
eight.
kill us.
I know. You can come off that. I was looking at that earlier.
We can't do anything
No.
with it, though.
Can
That's
you get-
why if
can
you
you get
move
through
that, I
here?
don't think it's...
What about hitting it pretty thick and roll the shooter to there, and then this one comes back into here?
Sure.
We're still shot, right?
You could rip the guard onto there.
Rip the guard under there.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Glenn's going to have the draw. It's not easy. I don't
That'd
think
be
he's
good.
going to rip. Do you?
That'd be good. That would be good.
Can't.
I think let's try that. Let's rip
Yeah,
that.
I think
Let's
that's
slash
good.
Slash that into
Yep.
here.
Yep.
All right, decisions made. Now, you may be wondering why the clock
Yeah.
is running. If you
Saw
weren't
that
with us yesterday or today, the Canadian
the
Curling
top, though.
Association is experimenting with the thinking time or talking time. And that's why the Howard clock continues to run. Each team is given 41 minutes and then 2 90-second timeouts. So they're not penalized for throwing draws, which, you know, take longer time on a clock compared to a takeout. So it's all about the talking time. And it continues to run until that moment right there when the thrower's stone reaches the tee line. So no time off the clock. Howard clears. Martin takes control. And now his clock starts for his talking time. And they'll talk about this when the CCA gets together next summer, and it could be implemented for the next season of champions.